We're going to do a pretty quick lesson this week. We're going to be going over the orders of subjects and predicates. So we've taken the time to talk about the difference between action verbs, linking verbs, and then look at the object complements, direct objects, indirect objects, predicate nouns, and predicate adjectives. All of that is very important to understanding the order of subjects and predicates. In normal, what we call classical sentences, we know that the subject usually precedes the verb. Jennifer stole the car. This is why we go over direct objects and indirect objects and stuff, because we need to remember who is the subject and what is the verb. Who did the action? Okay, who stole? Or excuse me, what was the action? Stole, right? And who did that? That's going to be our subject. That's Jennifer. This is the big thing to remember no matter what you're doing. Who or what does the action is the subject, or who's in that state of being if you're looking at linking verbs. I cannot stress this enough. This will save you so much time and energy. Whoever is doing the action or the being, that's the subject. Who stole? Jennifer. That's our subject. That's a classical sentence. However, there are patterns that really go against that, and this is where a lot of students have issues and why I want us to all be on the same page. So typically we call these inverted sentences, but they kind of fall into one of four categories: commands, here and there sentences, questions, and truly inverted sentences. But there are all ways to think about them as being inverted. Okay, commands are ones that a lot of students know, but they really get confused about or they forget. Something like open the door. So remember, if you can find the verb open, ask yourself who or what's going to open the door. If I tell you open the door, you are, right? In English, we have this thing called the understood you, where it's not actually in the sentence, but we understand that you are the person that's going to do the action. Who's going to open the door? You. Close the window. What is the action? Close. Who's going to close the window? If I look at you and yell, close the window, you're the one that's going to do it. So that's the subject. It's that understood you. Again, find, close what? Direct object, window, close the window. Who's going to close the window? You are. Check the oil in your car. Check, right, is the action. Check what? The oil. That's the direct object. Can't be the subject, right? It's the thing that's getting checked. Remember, that's the whole point of knowing a direct object. Close what? The window. Open what? The door. These are all direct objects. They can't be subject. Who or what is going to check the oil? Again, that's you. I think it's kind of covered up down here. Same issue though. Find who's doing the checking the oil? You are. So those are commands. Easy, straightforward. And remember that commands usually start the sentence. Open the door, close the window, things like that. So be aware of that. Okay, so that one's pretty easy. Okay. Here and there sentences. I'm going to have it down here in a second, but I'll just go ahead and reiterate for you. Here and there are never the subject of the sentence. There's one exception we can talk about later, and that's literally if you're talking about the words here and there. But generally speaking, here and there are never going to be the subject of the sentence. Here is the dollar. What's the verb? Is. So here's the thing. This is why it's important to be able to find your verb. What is here? Here is not here. The dollar is here. Okay, so even though here is at the beginning of the sentence, it's not the thing that's existing. Remember what linking verbs are, their state of being. What is here? The dollar. Okay, so just remember that. Something simple. Here and there are never the subject of the sentence, except in that one weird case, which we're not even going to look at today. We're not going to mess with it. Okay, so look at this sentence. There was a nice car here earlier. What was there earlier? Okay, sorry, what was here, sorry. And that is the car. The car was there earlier. That's the subject. One easy way to deal with this, oops, sorry, let me go back. Previous. Actually, you know what? All right, let's finish up looking at inverted sentences here. So what we were discussing is that here and there can never be the subject, and one thing you can do is to re-invert the sentence to figure it out. So instead of there was a nice car here earlier, you could say a nice car was here earlier. And so that's just a simple way to do it. You could also do, again, a dollar is here. So try to re-invert the sentence to see it all together. And that's just an easy way to check yourself. If you identify the verb put the subject at the beginning and see it both ways. That's an easy, simple way for you to check yourself, because I know it can be a little frustrating. So that's what to do with here and there. Just remember they can never be the subject. Now, looking at questions, one of the easiest things to do is to remember that questions rarely begin with the subject. So if you look at the sentence, where is my next class, you might think about it by answering it. My next class is over there. And just remember that identifying the verb is always the issue. So like here is, what is here? Okay, my next class. Okay, my next class is over there. And again, answer the question. Where is my next class? My next class is over there. What is over there? My next class. Kevin, can Kevin help me move the desk? Help me. Identify the subject, or excuse me, the verb. Who can help me? Kevin. Okay, Kevin can help me move this desk. So answer the question. Who can help me? Kevin can help. Who can help? Kevin. He's the subject. Okay, so just the way you do with here and there, try to reinvert the sentences. Okay, and this is also why it helps to know your direct and indirect objects. Can help move what? The desk, right? The desk is the direct object. It can't be the subject. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Identify your verb. Ask yourself who or what is doing this action, and you'll be in good shape. What is and what was. Okay, so this is just what I was discussing. By the way, I'm recording over myself, so this is janky, but whatever. Here we go. So when you look at these types of things, you're always asking yourself, what is the verb and who is doing the verb? Or who or what is doing the verb, and that will help you identify and keep straight what is the subject and the verb. Okay, so where is my next class? My next class is over there. Identifying that verb. Remember, your linking verbs give you that state of present, right? You are nice, right? Who's in the state of being nice? You, okay? My next class is over there, right? What is over there? My class. Same thing here, we are looking at with verbs. Identify the verbs. So we're dealing with inverted sentences. Usually they deal with linking verbs, but not always. So across the hall is the bathroom. Verb is. What is across the hall? Just remember, prepositional phrases, just like we were talking about, you're not going to find subjects, verbs, direct objects, indirect objects, any of that in a prepositional phrase. They usually tell you when and where things happen. Remember the mouse and a box, to the box, around the box, under a box, across the box. Okay, so what is across the hall? That's going to be the subject. The bathroom is across the hall. Okay, simple as that. Ask yourself, what is doing the action of existing? What is across the hall? Who can help? Kevin can help move the desk. Okay, what is here? The dollar. What was here earlier? The car. Always that question of find your verb and ask yourself who or what did it. So if you look at it, also try reordering it. What is across the hall? The bathroom. The bathroom is across the hall. Remember, across the hall is just prepositional phrase. Into the garbage can fell the trash. What fell? That'll be your subject. The trash fell, not the garbage can. So ask yourself, what fell? That's your subject. The trash, okay? And again, you can invert it, okay? Just the way we were talking about up there. The bathroom is across the hall. The trash fell into the garbage can, okay? You can invert it both ways. And just remember, what thing fell? The trash, not the garbage can. That's your subject. Find your verb. Ask yourself who or what did that verb, and that is where your subject is, okay? It doesn't matter where it is in the sentence. The question is, who did it, okay? That's your question. Who did it? Okay. Sorry, just checking my mic there. So what is across the hall? The bathroom. Okay. What fell into the garbage can? The trash. That's the subject. I'm just realizing that I repeat myself a lot in these lectures. Okay. A little bit of practice. Clean your room after dinner. Identify the verb. Clean. Who's going to clean? That's your subject. You are going to clean your room. I'm not cleaning your room. So that's your subject. Here will be the place. What will be here? That's going to be the place. Identify your verb. Will be. The place will be here. That's the thing that's existing. How did Megan and George find the answer? What's your verb? Did find. Who found the answer? Megan and George. Rewrite it as a sentence. Megan and George did find the answer, right? Who did find the answer? Megan and George. That's going to be your subject. Remember, the answer there would be the direct object. Over the mountain lives and thrives a herd of goats. What lives and thrives? A herd of goats. lives and thrives, not the mountain, right? Over the mountain just tells us where. That's a prepositional phrase. Remember, they just tell us when and where. Ask yourself, what's living and thriving? It's the herd of goats, not the mountain. It's the goats that are living and thriving. There is a spider under the box. What is there under the box? The spider. It's the thing that exists. That's your subject. Okay? Under the box, just a prepositional phrase. Drive your grandmother to the store. Who's going to drive? Okay? That's going to be you, right? Was she correct? Okay? Was correct. Who was correct? She, subject. In a few will arrive my new computer. I think it's supposed to be a few minutes. Okay? What's going to arrive? Computer. That's your subject. And again, guys, you can always type these out and invert them yourself. That's something that you can easily do. My new computer will arrive, right? So when you have so that's what you're seeing here. You can invert it yourself. My new computer will arrive in a few minutes. And so what will arrive? Computer, subject. Answer questions. Was she correct? She was correct. Who was correct? She, subject. There's a spider under the box. You could invert that. A spider is there. Or excuse me, the spider is under the box. Okay? Keep your stuff simple. Do not overcomplicate this kind of stuff, okay? Find your verb, ask yourself who or what did this verb, and you will do well. That's the biggest thing to keep in mind, okay? No big deal, or whatever. Okay, really quickly, last thing I want to do is show you your practice before you take your quiz. It's just the same information, just some practice with it. It even gives you some quick notes at the top, how to deal with subjects and predicates. The first one, you're just identifying and splitting the subject from the predicate. Behind the hills sank the setting sun, just to show you one. So where's the verb? Sank. What sank behind the hills? The setting sun. So you're going to draw your line there between your subject, which is actually at the end of the sentence, the setting sun, and your verb, which is sank, because all you're doing is drawing a line between the two. Okay, so I'll do one more with you. Here are the photographs of the eclipse. What are here? The photographs of the eclipse. So this is your subject, this is your verb, the line's going to go right here. This next one asks you to practice with inversion yourself. So players from both teams were at the meetings. Notice how they rewrote it. You're going to rewrite the sentence to invert. At the meeting were players from both teams. Some of them you're going to be inverting, some of them you're going to be reverting. Up the falls swam the salmon. What's the verb? Swam. Who swam? The salmon. There's your subject. So to reorder this, you might say the salmon swam up the falls. I'll do one more with you. Past the crowd sped the wheelchair racers. What sped? Okay, the wheelchair racers. So you might say, to invert this, the wheelchair racers sped past the crowd. Okay, that's all there is to your homework. It's really, or to this practice for your quiz. It's just identifying what's the actual subject, what's the actual verb, especially with these inverted sentences. One more I'll do with you, just looking at number 9. This one is in regular order, classic order. A pirate ship appeared out of the mist. What appeared out of the mist? The pirate ship. So this one's already in classical order, so you're going to actually invert this one. You might start with here. Out of the mist appeared a pirate ship, rather. So you're going to actually invert this one, so you get to practice doing it both ways. All right, guys, if you have any questions, you know you can email me. If you're watching this and you're not in my class, God bless your soul. But I hope it's some help to you, just identifying strange orders of subjects and predicates. Just remember, whatever's doing that verb, that's the subject, okay? If you remember that, it will take you very far.